born 21st February 2002 in St James Hospital in Leeds. I live with my mother and brother. My parents are both British Muslims, therefore you would expect me to have practiced the same beliefs growing up and lived a similar lifestyle. If you know me well enough, you know that I don't. I'm very independent and rarely ask for help. I love to socialise, but work has effectively taken over my teenage life. I like to get on with life, trying my hardest to believe that everything happens for a reason, because my mum believes that. We are exactly the same, and that's why we argue so much. My mum has always taught me to have the right morals and mindset, and in conclusion, I thank her for where I am now. My mum and my brother are two big characters in my life that have never left my side through everything. My brother and I have lived the same life, just different genders. I'd say we're quite similar and we actually get along really well. My parents' nationality, and if I speak more than one language. What's my real name? Why I don't wear a hijab? How does my family feel about my decision? Or I'd always hear people judge what I am doing, or question if I can do that due to my religion. It's never bothered me, but am I actually prepared to answer these questions? I'm still young. Am I even making the right decisions? I remember being best mates with my dad and having an unbreakable, humorous bond. When my mum and dad divorced around my 10th birthday, I had to bring it on myself to grow up and have a back for myself. Around the time of my dad leaving, I started to build a bond with my mum's family, who I lost contact with for 7 years. Trying to build this bond now was difficult. I didn't have the same bond they did with my cousins. They didn't know anything about me or my life. Being away from my family made me have my own beliefs, which my mum directed. I didn't feel like my mum's family got me. To this day, when I see them, I'm never myself.
Hi, my name's Abby Pease, I'm 17 and I'm white as fuck. Me and Sammy met at school. We were like friends, sort of. Then we sat next to each other in maths in year 11. And she was really funny actually. And we used to piss about all the time. And we'd eat loads of sweets. That's super cool. And then we went to college and we ended up being in the same class. And pretty like best friends. We see each other all the time. She's so annoying, but we'll make it sound.
How familiar are you with Sammy's religion? Please explain what you know, and if there are any confusions, please ask.
Sammy is British. And her mum was born in Britain as well, but her grandma is from Pakistan. I think her granddad is as well. They moved over when they were like younger. She doesn't talk about it much at all. She's told me before that she lives like sort of a double life sort of thing, where like she'll go see her family and she'll wear different clothes, act differently, say different things that she's done, and then she'll come out with me and wear different things, say different things.
Have you got any advice for Sammy?
Sammy needs to stop working so much because she focuses too much on work. She needs to focus on college more and be more bothered and not say she can't bored all the time.
What's it really like being a Muslim in Britain today?
Me following Islam is not me going away from my family.
As a converted Muslim, it's going to make your life very difficult.
You brought me up in a certain way, and there are so many things I take away from that, and I haven't changed as a person. But I do apply certain values in my life because I think it's very important.
I know that you are a good person. I know you have certain values in your life, but at the same time, you have converted into a culture which is very odd to us. You don't have to be Muslim to live this way you regard as a perfect way. You can do the same things without covering head, because nobody is really looking at your hair as a desire to have you.
But does it really make me less of a daughter if I don't drink wine with you, or I don't go to the theater with you, but we can do anything else together?
And you're going to bring up a child, it's not going to have easy life, I presume.
But that's exactly why I want to protect her from, all these things out there that, I experienced. I partied, I wore mini skirts, I did all these things that seem like, having fun or seem to be the pleasures of life, but actually you end up being miserable.
If you keep her under the closure, it's not going to be very good for her. To improve your character, you have to experience something. You have to see the world.
Make mistakes.
Not necessarily the bad mistakes, extreme mistakes, but live a normal way of life.
I don't know. So yeah, I think the differences are clearly there, because clearly in terms of our social lives, they're quite...
But that's like this small.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
not important.
No.
Religion is, any religion anyone chooses is a personal belief, just as a spirituality, whatever you believe. My sister's Buddhist. It's a consideration I have.
I feel like my identity is made up of what other people's perceptions are of me, which is really difficult, which is a hostile environment to begin with. Now I feel like because people are so much bolder in their racism, so much bolder in their Islamophobia, that it's made me really, really question, whether, this is my home. And I was born here, I was brought up here, this is all I've ever known. But yeah, I'm still being made to question that.
Deep breath, take a moment, and when you're ready, straight to the camera.
Dear child.
Dear child.
Dear child.
I know you're hearing a lot of things that are confusing and scary right now.
You're growing up at a time when hate, when bigotry, when prejudice, it has been legitimized. So yeah, there are going to be times when you are going to be called a terrorist.
They want to get rid of the Muslims in this country, or we would be better off without them.
Or that our religion means hate, or it means killing.
Or people asking you to explain things about your birthplace, or questioning whether you're an American.
I know that you've heard about all of these incidents, kids who look like you being bullied, and I'm sure you're afraid.
All those people don't know who we are, and that's what makes it so easy for them to hate and for them to fear.
People are just misinformed, and they exist. That's just a reality.
And I was always afraid to share my identity, but I don't want you to be afraid of that. I want you to really look into yourself and see the light that's in you.
This is an opportunity for us to become louder and stronger, help people understand who you are.
A Muslim who shares the same dreams, the same aspirations, the same hopes like anyone else.
You are worthy and you're loved.
You are beautiful, you are strong, you are capable.
You are the most amazing child I've ever met, and I'm so lucky to be your mom.
I want you to be proud of who you are. I want you to friend as many people from different religions and race and ethnicities. And I want you to see that beyond our minuscule differences, it is our shared humanity that makes us who we are.
Can you please begin to tell me how you were brought up and what the circumstances were of what you lived like, especially compared to now?
Respect of the community for my parents, making sure my parents were never told that their daughters had done anything that would make them be disrespected in the community. So with that fear in mind, we really didn't do much other than what we were supposed to do.
Can you tell me about an experience where religion has affected a decision you made?
My whole life up until the point I got divorced. My marriage, when I got married, education again had to be controlled by the fear of religious wise, where will you go, how will you do it? Pubs, clubs, drinking, you're restricted to make your own choices. When I was younger, I was seen as the rebel child because if my parents were to say, you're not allowed in a pub, my eldest sister would agree and then go to the next village and go to the pub there. I saw that as disrespectful. My sister above me would even cross the road and never walk past a pub because she religiously followed my parents exactly to the T. I would stand there on the other hand and say, why? And I'd get told I was being argumentative. And I'd say, no, I'm not being argumentative. I just want to know why so I can understand it. And if I can understand it, then I won't do it. But if I don't understand it, I want to question it. But at the time, me quizzing and questioning thing was seen as being disrespectful and being argumentative. Now I see the answer to that is they didn't know the answers. So it was easier just to say, stop being disrespectful. But as a result of that, they created someone who was constantly confused about religion, tradition, and about trying to find her own identity. So religion has played a huge role in my life.
What have you learned about yourself and religion?
My parents built for me in my head, which was that I would be married with a man who was going to take care of me forever and ever, and I would have children and a home and everything else. But that dream didn't. I have chosen religion not to be an obstacle for me anymore, because I realised how much of my past was maybe a lie and how much of my past was built on a lack of somebody else's knowledge. Religion is not supposed to be a fear. It's supposed to be love.
How would you describe yours and Sammy's relationship? How do you think you've affected Sammy's life?
I chose to raise my children how I would like to have been raised. Can't really explain to you, Sammy, what I was being, but I was definitely being a provider. I was providing for my children. I was making sure, because that's what I was. The children's dad was not working. I was the breadwinner. I was everything. Children grew up knowing that I loved them. But if you ask them, can they prove it? No. The result of those 10 years, I then had to get a grasp of everything after I had a divorce from their father. His idea of being a father was more like a fun uncle. He wasn't a provider, so they weren't really gaining anything from him, to a point where they were not only not gaining, they were losing out now, because I was catering for his needs before theirs. Sammy's a character and a half. Now why wouldn't she be? And I know I'm going to say this and Sammy may not like this, but I want her to be everything I am and more, because she can be more interested in raising her based on who she wanted to be. So I watched her. She's independent, she's creative, she's ambitious, she follows my lead but makes it into her own. She was her daddy's little favourite. Mine and Sammy's relationship is one where my mission is to raise an individual, female, who knows her worth.
Can you tell me your view on Sammy? Where do you think she's going? Her ambitions, her future? Do you have any advice for her at the same time? In terms of religion, education, work, social life, herself?
I'm never ever going to stop giving Sammy advice because even though Sammy never ever wants to take it, but I'm always going to give Sammy advice. And you know, when she says to me, oh, I'm going to be 18 soon, I was like, yeah, and? I know what shit's going to come her way, but I know it's going to come. 100% it's going to come. I know that she can achieve and move mountains. She can do anything her heart desires, and there is no doubt in my mind that she will succeed so long as her intentions are pure. Sammy, always make sure your intentions are pure, because if it's meant to be for you, it will happen. And you know what? If it goes belly up, at least you know you never did anything to hurt anyone. Just remember, if you want to achieve something, you have to work hard at it. You already know that. You're holding 2 jobs and you're at college and you passed your driving test before your mother. So I already know you're fantastic. Remember, Sam, religion, money, people, love are always going to surround you, because the environment, the people that you're with always come with their own opinions. If you're strong enough in your own mind, don't let one of those factors be you. Let all of them influence you. Don't be naive to assume it's not okay to listen. Of course it is, but always, always, always come up with your own conclusion. Always.
Hi! I've seen all the role models in my life, all the women, all the people that I'm surrounded by all the time. And now it's finally time for me to say my piece. What am I doing next? Where am I going? Yes, I have 2 jobs. I go to college. I've got all these ambitions to go to college. Using my biggest state of life. Right. There's a person there, you can see me. Now, take 117.
Right, we do right now.
Right. Growing up, religion has always been something that I've always been surrounded by it. I've always had no choice. I've always had to do it out of respect for my elders, my aunties, uncles, my grandma. Raised as a Muslim, but being actually raised in a complete white society. Like in my high school, there was probably about 3 or 4 other people that were coloured, and I'd always felt like I'd always obviously been different to everyone else because I've been a different colour, or I'm not going to be liked because I'm completely different, or oh no, I'm the typical stereotype, but I'm not. I'm British. Have been brought up to practice Islamic ways, but we don't think Islam should steer your life direction. It should steer your morals, it should make sure you go in the right direction, but it shouldn't decide your destiny. Now, religion stops you from doing a lot of things, in my opinion, so I can't wear certain things with family, I can't with friends, I can't do certain things, say certain things, can't drink, can't do most of the habits or hobbies that I do now. There are some things in my life that religion has stopped me from doing. For example, social media. I can't have any family on social media because they will see photos and they'll be like, oh my god, what? Is this? I'd say my childhood was really blurry, but as far as I can remember, me and my dad were absolute best friends. So he left around my 10th birthday, and as far as I can actually remember, he was going for like about a year on and off, gone, come back a bit, and in them 7 years of me not seeing him, almost 8 years now, he didn't make any efforts. He might have made 1 or 2, he might have messaged me, but the messages were never, how's this, how's your prom, how was your brother's 18th, how was your birthday, how was you passed your driving test. He doesn't know any of these things. Obviously he knows his own kids' birthdays, but he's never had the thought to reach out and actually check on them, make sure they're okay. He's never provided for us, and that is something that makes me respect my mum a lot more. And I think the fact that all my mum's family are very religious, but the fact that I don't see my mum's family as much, and I don't see my dad, and we live completely in a different area, in a white area, it's definitely made me who I am. And my mum has gone against everything she's first believed in. So the fact that not only she is adapting to living in this society, so are me and my brother, because we're still growing up. And I like that there's 3 of us, me, my mum, my brother, we all bounce off each other. I would say I've always tried to be a big part of what the big things are. So high school, PLT, even primary school, I was in some sort of student leadership team, and high school pupil leadership team. I always spoke on behalf of the school, or I would put myself first to speak in front of the school. I would always try to take part in competitions. I did dance, I did gymnastics. So at the beginning of college, I actually wanted to do English Little and Combined, psychology and media. College completely screwed us over and they just said no, we cannot do that lesson, the class size isn't big enough, so they completely messed me and a couple of my mates over. It wasn't just completely messes up, and in conclusion to that we ended up doing a media ULL course. My mum wasn't too impressed with that. She thought that I was going to slack off, so only 2 days a week. Last year 3 days a week. This year I was desperate for a job. This year over the years I've had loads of jobs. I've been an elf, I've been a waitress, I've worked with old people, I've got my DBS, I've done my gold DV throughout the years. I did NCS, I left school, had prom, that I had to drive.
Subway.
So I'm currently working at Subway and at Sainsbury's. The main message of this documentary is me exploring what else is out there before I follow what my mum might have had to follow when she didn't have a choice. I would say I'm lucky that I have a choice, because there's so many Muslims out there still my age who aren't able to make their own decisions. They have to follow what they're told to follow. They have to wear a hijab, they have to go to mosque, they have to learn the language, they have to eat certain foods, they can't drink, they can't go out with their friends. And I am very lucky to say that I haven't had to go through that, but I've still experienced good things while still being a good person. So the main story of this documentary is to look at all the different aspects and people that have inspired me and where I can possibly go to next. And as we've looked at an interview with my friend. I had an interview with me. As long as you're doing the right thing, then I just think that you can do what you want to do. If that's not your order. I just want to thank my mum, my brother, all the family surrounding that I don't see so often but still see. My friends, my best friend, my college teachers, high school teachers, neighbours, everyone that has impacted me. I just want to thank everyone for where I am today, because I think I'm going in the right direction and it's a rocky ride, but we're getting there.